Hello, YouTube. How are we? It's been a very long time since I posted on here, and I really just felt like posting again and talking about books on this channel, as well as on my other channels as well in regards to Instagram and TikTok. And so I am just creating this video to talk about just a bunch of things, mostly talking about my year so far in books and some of the things that I've been doing and reading and just enjoying. So yeah, let's get right into it. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, welcome. My name is Jeanette. I created this channel to talk about books. Started that a little over a year ago, did it for a little bit, really enjoyed it, but got really busy, so I decided to pause on posting, and now I feel like posting again, so here I am. Today I wanted to do a mid-year check-in and just check in on the books that I've been reading, tell you some of my favorite books of the year so far, and just what I'm planning on doing for the rest of the year in books. So to start off with the stats of the books so far this year, for those of you guys who maybe want to get a little bit more details on some of the books I've been reading that were not 5 stars, feel free to check me out on Goodreads as well as Storygraph. Storygraph I really enjoy since it does give you the data of what you're reading and how much you've been reading. So with that said, so far this year I've read about 95 books overall. I have read a good chunk of ARCs, which are advanced reader copies, so I've been also being able to have the opportunity to provide feedback to authors, which has been really awesome and really great to do. And so I've really enjoyed that as well. I've also been listening to a lot of audiobooks, so far this year I've, like I said, read about 95 books, which totaled to be about 22,000-ish, 22,500 pages, and almost 232 hours of audiobooks. So audiobook wise, for those of you guys who maybe want to get more into audiobook listening, I highly recommend Libby and Hoopla through your local library. That's been an amazing opportunity for me to listen to a lot more books versus just reading them or purchasing the audiobook. Being able to rent them and support the library has been really awesome. So, and now let's just get into some of the books that I've loved so far this year and some of those 5-star reads. Alright, so far this year, I've pulled a couple of my favorite reads from the year. A lot of these are all the physical copies that I have. Some of the 5-star reads that I had were either from the library or on my Kindle, and these are probably the 5 that I would pick as like highly recommend romance-ish books. One is not totally a romance, but the first one, really two, or because they're from the same series and by the same author, are the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. If you know anything about me, Lauren Asher is one of my auto-buy authors. I absolutely love her. So definitely have loved this series. If you haven't checked out any of her books, definitely do. I would say this is probably the best series so far by her. I really enjoy how she's been able to create these slow burn romances that you still are invested in if you're really a really big romance reader and lover. The next book on my 5-star read list for the year is Play Along by Liz Tomford. This is a part of a series, sports romance series. This one is like a fake relationship, marriage of convenience kind of thing. They get drunk in Vegas and they get married and they kind of stay married for a year is essentially the rule. And it just is a really cute romance read. Does have, there's no third act breakup, which I also love, but it was a really good, awesome, quick, I would say quick because it is one of the shorter ones in this series so far, but I really enjoyed it. And then the last book, the last 5-star read that I have is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I actually read this book, or listened to this book, sorry, on audio Really enjoyed it. I also listened to the second book in this series, or this like duet, and I liked the second book, but I didn't love the second book. And my biggest thing was that I felt like in the second book, the author just took way too much time world building. Like if she would have done it in the first book, I would have paid no mind to it. But that was my only like little qualm, I guess you could say, with it, was just that didn't she didn't like just she expanded way too much on the world in the second book, but not in the first book. But I still really did love the series overall. Some other top reads from this year has been it's a book called The Four Heaths Girl. It's talking about the Grimm brothers. That book I rented from the library, really enjoyed it. It was more of a fiction book than necessarily a romance, so that's why I didn't really want to include it in like the overall book, the book 5-star read book romance. But that was another book that I really enjoyed. But yeah, so those were a couple of my top reads from the year. Right, so for the rest of 2024, I am planning on reading as much books as I want for the rest of the year. I don't want to say can, because there might be moments where I don't feel like reading. So as many books as I want. Another big priority for me is to read as much of my physical TBR as I can, and I'll show you right here. This cart of books are all of the physical books that I haven't read yet, so I'm going to spend some time the rest of this year trying to get through some of those, and reading them, and just having fun with it, maybe make a little challenge out of it. I'm going to do a video later about all of the books that I have in my TBR, because I know that it is a lot. And also just posting more and just having fun with posting, and just enjoying myself with that. So thanks for listening to my rambling about the books so far. Feel free to follow me on, Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribe here on YouTube, and just like the video as well if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!